Hey guys, welcome back. I've been working a little bit over the last bit to rebuild my NCS audio collection. Kind of update it, get the latest stuff in there. So that to that end, I located the playlists of interest on YouTube. And where's that command? There we go. So yeah, found this YTDLP, the latest version of online video downloader. So yeah, just pulled that down from the GitHub, and so the first thing I found, the first thing I wanted to do is see what sort of audio qualities were available. Did I do it right? Maybe it's too verbose. Yeah, so see a bunch of Python stuff. Spin by. Essentially, it goes out, pulls down that playlist, and then starts extracting the individual URLs and pulling those down one by one. So what was interesting, some of these things seem like they would benefit from a proxy server, like a Squid or something like that, to do a little bit of caching, because it seems like it pulls down just in the logs. It seems like it's pulling down the same thing a few times. But yeah, what we do is we query the playlist for the formats that are available, and yeah, a lot of choices. What's interesting is this ID tag over here on the left. In going through and looking at a lot of the different files, URLs that were available, this stuck out as being the highest quality, easiest to get to. This 251. I don't know what's inside the iOS container. That's apparently got a little bit more security attached to it, so you need an additional key that they haven't really fully reverse engineered as part of this project. But yeah, interesting just to see all the videos that are available, the resolutions that are available. So yeah, so that 251 then is consistent across the board. Again, it's Opus format, but that's the native. I believe that's the closest to a native format that we're going to find. It's 140. The files were bigger. I just assumed it was smarter, but oh, it's 48K too. Yeah, the M4A file is 44.1. That's an interesting. Well, now I want to download the M4As too. Okay. And so I just went through and I had found an all songs. I'm not really describing this very well, but it's easy enough to get the playlist URLs. And so then let's try grabbing that M4A style. And then we use that, and was it? I went with the Opus because the files were bigger. So then, of course, come to find out that iTunes doesn't like Opus files. So I was going to have to transcode those into something. So, all of these fancy, digital audio codecs, regardless of how many bits of precision you feed in there, I mean, if you feed 8 or 16-bit, depth audio sample in there, what actually comes out is going to be a lot longer. And that's not that it's adding precision. I mean, because, to go from 16 bits to 24 bits, it's that they try and, the mathematical quantization causes just a reduction in, in a certain amount of like rounding. And so data, appears in those lower bits. So I want to try and capture, all the way down to 24 bits, at least prior to transcoding those into something else. And so then these are all going into iTunes. So I want to, the ultimate destination is iPad with the Tractor DJ software on it. So I need to get as much iTunes magic and metadata in there as possible. So that makes me think that WAV is not the right output format. Let's see. So I had just recently started. Annoyingly, Socks doesn't seem, or my build anyway, does not seem to support Opus. Yeah, no handler. Oh no, but it's not. Say something like. It's fine. So FFmpeg will do it. Wait a second. All right. The 16B should be the same. I don't see how it could be any more. Supported. That's all it says is that does that. Mining on my computer now. What's all right? Make sure faster. Okay, dash formats. decode, encode. Oh, it just doesn't have the... All right, so it was putting out S16. Let's just take it to 32 bits. Right, so now what I'm curious about is if I get the, what I'm really after preserving is the essentially like the ID3 tags that would accompany an MP3. Did that add it? Why not? I just add one file. U. Oh, that didn't turn out right at all, did it? Okay. Why it doesn't like my... AIFF file. Maybe I don't support AIFF here. All right, well, what is there a handler for? Is there a whole lot of sock stuff out there? So there is. All socks format libraries. Yeah. Does that mean it actually works? well, we didn't get all the way to the finish line. How about that? Precision. Oh, good, good, good. Yes. So, if I take it, all right, 32-bit. Actually, DE when it did it the way it wanted. Well, that magic word is dumb. C colon. All right, so if I just take it straight, oh, there we go. So now, if I take that test file, does it know anything about it? Does not know anything. But is there anything to know? MP3 tags, huh? focus? Probably not. There were too many words, but it sounded like it did something. X. 5 quarts. It's great when the software says 10:9 and later. I believe this is Catalina, which is 10:15. Well, yeah, that's probably enough. Great. X quarts. Come on, X Protect. You can do it. Alrighty, let's see. Alright, easy tag. Wow, look how easy. I guess for Linux, that's something. That's not an MP3 file, though. There's nothing that says MP3. Okay. So that's really just saying there is no metadata. And the fact that it's able to ascertain that anyway. We'll just double check all of them. That seems pretty consistent. All right, so at this point we need to then get into a 32-bit compatible audio universe. Wait, files are going to be big though. It's already big. So I guess infinite bandwidth. All right, let's just turn them into 32-bit AIFF files and then let iTunes touch them. It'll just be so nice. All right. That's what we need right there. Better. That looks like it will do the work. All right, so that should quickly run me out of space. Oh, I see some of them are giant. Oh, dash C, I wonder. 320. But don't tell me it won't make a 48 kilohertz audio file. Dance floor. There is no info. That's fine. Nice long name. In the old days, you could convert. Okay, 48K. Yeah, and it gets the replay gain in there, which is important to me. Perfect. So all of these files then are only temporary. Okay, now you can go away. I would like it to go away. All right, so that was functional. $1,600 files. 80 are done, so that's going to take a minute. Yeah. This is useful because it has the content that I recently put on the iPad. This was the previous incarnation of my NCS library, but some of the tagging is just kind of crazy, so. Sync. I gotta do that for every here. Go ahead and do that. Curious to see if that would transfer any of the BPM data. When the tractor runs on the iPad, it parses the library. And that got us our M4A. Many of these have information. And the answer is no. February 128, 9. Yeah, I feel like I'm curious what's in the native iOS, but how big are we? Not too far. All right, well, I guess I'm going to let that run for a minute. Neglected to charge my headset, so put it on the charger for a minute and return soon. There we are. I'd like to get at least a workaround for that behavior. Essentially, what's happening in that situation is, yeah, too much yeah, graphic information, which causes the G streamer to bug out. Wrong screen. There we are. I have the same normal file names, but I created a shortcut just because I got really sick of having to kill gst-inspect-1.0. So I think in the newer release, uh, Ubuntu kind of made the naming a little bit more sensible, or Debian rather. But I was unsuccessful at getting the encoding, thus far, unsuccessful getting the encoding working with working under Bookworm. So, all right, well, too many things going on at once. I was going to offer a quick, let's see, quick demonstration. Well, okay, but at least it rebooted. It's not a desired behavior. All right, so here we are, AirPlayed into the iPad, and yeah, from the little iPad Mini 4, and I just thought I'd do a little bit more with the Tractor app. I won't have the benefit of the audio interface, but I'll be able to hear a little better. So yeah, so a lot of features in a limited space. We got 2 decks, and we can start by, where did my sound go? It's not what I asked for. Oh, it's not going to work at all with that attached, is it? Oh, good. Maybe it can crash again when I. Nope. All right. All right. We'll get that out of the way a little bit. All right. So Tractor DJ. At the time, it was something like $10. It wasn't much. So yeah, we pick a song, and we're given a list of. It starts over there on the right with what it thinks will be compatible tracks. You can see there's a green note next to some of them, the 6M. That talks about music stuff, I guess. M is major and D is minor, or is the other way around? I don't really know the stuff, but I know that if it lines up, the song sounds good together. And you're given the option to slide up or down to choose a deck where you want it. You can look around the timeline, but normally you just go back to the beginning and hit play. It's some form of audio. I actually can't hear, but I assume it's making some not super loud noise. So yeah, so what's really slick is when you first come in there, into the, and load it up with a bunch of files. It goes through. There's a little message that says it's you know, scanning or building the library or something, and so that's where it builds the the time and key. It does that by dividing everything up into measures and then putting a specific grid to it. Uh, so this is neat. If the auto beat detection fails, there's a tap mode where you can enter manually, and sometimes it's just off by a factor of 2. So you can divide, for me, normally it's tagging, 90 BPM steps 180, and I have no clue that's not right. But yeah, so you can hop around. There's a couple multi-touch gestures. So like I use 2 fingers and I can, make a little loop like that. And there are some additional functions that you can do with the screen, with that looping stuff. I've not honestly spent a whole lot of time on it just because it's really... Okay, so this is perhaps neat effects. Again, I can't hear anything right now, but just a little bit much to do on a touch screen. And it's, certainly it's better on a full-size iPad than a mini, but this was my disposable iPad at the moment. So, yeah, I think as I mentioned before, we've got real-time control. There's 3 bands of graphic equalizer with pretty effective kill. And this thing really, the multi-touch support is, I guess it's as many things as the hardware supports, because it's a bunch. So you can actually get in there and get some synchronization, and that's fun. Let's see, let's get out of that. Yeah, and then a filter function, which is probably familiar to anybody that's used a DJ mixer before. Yeah, so we've got that, and we've also got a little set of built-in effects. These are perhaps not the flashiest effects. Native Instruments software they do have an application to run that from a Windows PC and maybe Mac. I certainly at the time that I had this, Mac was not an option as an operating system, just because of the lack of flexibility in the sound drivers, lack of visibility into things like sampling rates and bit depths, and latency. Just Windows, you can tune that stuff where in Mac you can't. So at least at the time. So it was all, I built it up a desktop machine with Windows 7, which I may boot up. We may take a look at that in the future. But so anyway, these can be dropped down to choose different effects. So again, it's hard when I can't personally hear, but presumably there's some sort of reverb action. One of the dimensions is effect, and one is like wet dry mix. So just some of those just not as fancy of an effect. But what was I on? So the Gator's my personal favorite go-to, and it's all it's once you've built those those beat synchronization grids, and you can fine-tune that. It's again, everything's hard with the touch screen, but you can fine-tune it on using the controller. Like it's like butter. So yeah, so fun stuff. I'm not sure why you would want to make that noise, but it does it. And then yeah, the ability to set cue points. Which these then map to the hardware buttons. The mixer itself has 8 buttons. There's different control surfaces you can use if you want something a little bit more compact, but so some fun functionality there. It really works quite well, especially when it's, you look at it as just like a portable, sort of almost like an appliance. So using a full-size iPad 6, the performance was good. Sometimes on these slower iPads, it's a little bit. It takes a second before like the BPM synchronized effects. The beat sync stuff is a little. It takes it a second to figure stuff out. Um, but yeah, that's been a lot of fun. So this was the MK2 uh, of the S4. Let's see. Uh, and this, like I said, I looked in I think I paid $250 for it. I looked at Guitar Center just yesterday, and they're still $250. That is not an S4. That's an I'm sorry, an MK2. That's a MK3. Yeah, $400. That seems a little high, but yeah. And so if there's any disadvantage to the iPad interface, it's that you're more limited in terms of there's a lot more effects offered on the in the desktop version, but there's not really any that are more. I don't know. These are good effects. There's no, I don't really think that's a limit. The desktop gives you access to two virtual decks each side. It's got kind of like an A/B toggle, so you can have more content loaded, and you gain access to the mixing functions. This box has it's got some RCA ins on the back, and those are not available. Excuse me. Those none of that mixing functionality, the mic functionality, none of that stuff works with the iPad. Let's see a picture of the back. That's crazy money. Because I can go down Guitar Center. That's free shipping. They ship it to store. I'm not trying to do an ad for them, but they get some. Yeah, it's a good option. So yeah, so that all okay. So that came out, and so then they wanted to compete more with some of the higher end folks. So they added motorized platters, which I think probably Pioneer was doing at the time, and yeah, they just got a little bit more digital, got away from the core DJ experience, in my opinion. But rather than add support to that red tractor app, essentially, they discontinued that app, which was a little bit annoying because the replacement, well, on one hand, it was free, so that was they marked it as an update, uh, and then said it was free, so that's how they got away. But there was a big outroar or outcry at the time. Let's see. So I guess this was around the time maybe iOS 7 was coming out, and everybody was doing away from the the realistic looking interface, and everything was going minimal. Let's listen to something good earlier. What was it? The other version has my history. That's not helpful. Like if I go back to the old version, it'll tell me what songs I played in every set. I mean, can I see my cue from earlier, please? Yeah, okay, so that's crap right there. Because if I go back to this version and look in my file browser, I can see, oh, what is it? It's under history. Yeah, I can see what I played. You know, I've not been using this unit very long, but back on, well, that's a good song. Yeah, so that's annoying. Oh, good. It takes forever to load, and you know, I fuck off. Doesn't comes up blank. So they kind of killed. Native Instruments, in my opinion, kind of like killed themselves with this, because this is just not as good. I mean, the colors are better. And already it's choppy. That may be partially because I haven't really used this and it hasn't done the analysis yet. I don't like that I can't see the timeline to the left. I'm going to jump back there. I think they added pitch bend to the user interface, which is a win. I wish I could pitch bend from the touch screen. You know, the other, which I could pitch bend from the touch screen in the other app, but yeah, so they've had recording built in. The other one does that. I mean, I don't have a history? That's so lame. Now it has seemingly identified all this, the BPMs pretty quickly. So I think it's pulling that analysis data probably from the same place that the older version is, because it took that older version, I mean, like 3.5 hours to analyze the 1,500 songs I put on here or something. It took a while, and I have not. Today was really the first time I've been into this, so I've noticed that the information in the old one sticks around. Uh, the analysis is done. I made a mistake in choosing the wrong BPM range, and yeah, analyzing it, and then I still have not figured out how to reset that. So that's one of the reasons I'm gonna just dump a new library on there with a fresh YouTube download thing. So yeah, so I mean, I guess this app is free. It works with the new controller, but yeah, and they're both different colors for no reason at all. They do give us another version of the interface. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is the default version. I guess I should have led with that. But yeah, this is, and so obviously this app is better because it has spinny wheels. And you can, seemingly cut it up a little bit with those, but and similar functionality with 2-finger loops. I mean, the essence is there of what needs to be there, but just not a very thorough implementation or whatever. It's a shame too, because that would have been neat to see. These are kind of cool, I guess. You can get to the what am I trying to say? The EQ right there from the front, but I don't know. Not too thrilled by it. So yeah, that's about the rundown on that. No, it's a great toy if nothing else. Let's get back on the other screen. I don't need you down here. How many are we at now? Another 500. GRNCS. Total of 1,000. Huh. 2/3 done. Just want to keep only move over completed letters. That way I know that if I do a partial import here, I'm starting over on M. Okay, and that is exactly what we're going to do. Take our clean, new download. That'd be quicker just to do the whole folder. Make sure I got what I want set here. Yes, which is what I wanted, as high as it goes. And so I'm just go ahead and let iTunes make 320K AAC files here. Just with the knowledge that Apple's encoder is one that's been pretty extensively optimized, and it's a pretty mainstream solution. So that will be even more hours of time, for sure. $900. All right, so these have come in as WAV files, so there's no tagging or other information. Oh, good. This sounds clear too. I guess if I were to nitpick that tractor setup, it would, on the iPad, it would be that when you're doing pitch shifting, because it does speed shifting without changing the pitch and vice versa, that when you're doing that, it's the tiny bit muffle. It muffles the sound a tiny bit. You can hear it when you drop out of that and you come back to fully native, playing the file natively. It's a teeny bit clearer. That's hard to hear, though. All right, well, at least all the titles are good. I guess that probably tells me everything I need to know for YouTube. Let's get that on the screen. I should be good to go. It's got so many vertical bars in the file names. And also, for sure, there's a bunch of Unicode that, I don't know, I try to keep straight UTF-8. Just all these fancy, yeah. We're just gonna have to misspell that name without a little slurpy do, because that's hard to script. I don't know, hard, but it's more effort anyway. All right, well. Highlight all the tracks and file, convert. Yeah, and iTunes does all the replay gain. It does all the right stuff when importing that, and I have no question in its ability to take in a 24-bit file accurately. I mean, I don't really have any question about Sox's ability to do that either, but all right, well, I don't have a whole bunch more on the agenda here. No, Google. In iTunes, you can stop playing, please. 2014. Just happened to be watching this show last night. Definitely noticed the audio was out of sync, so I re-encoded it with FFmpeg just in the dumbest way possible to see. Let's take that, let's put it in a proper player. Ooh, I didn't know it was 1080. All right, give me somebody talking. Still horribly out of sync. Well, that at least answers the question. If it doesn't play normally, will re-encoding it fix it? And the answer today, sadly, is no. It's shrinking. This is just a huge content archive that I messed up the transcoding on some part of it. It's not the first and it's not the last. It was like a series, the month, like a few months out of the mess. So I've just put all those things back on my re-record list. They're filtering in. I got the tab tools that put up in GitHub that pulls the recordings automatically out of the Tableau HDMI with names and all that stuff. I don't think I have seen any other tools for accessing that unit over the web. All of the Tableau stuff seems to be centered around the models that you're supposed to do it with. All right. Yeah, and so this one is I tried to stream with use FFmpeg's streaming ability, but then found that the Tableau was not quite as good of a web server as I would like, HTTP server as I'd like, so I had to go to a different version that's causing that's pulling the stuff in with wget. You get a better machine. Yeah, so that's the one, the network. Anyway, that's been running nonstop and has built this collection. The icons do not update automatically on the Mac side, but I believe they do on the Windows side. So I can just come over here. Well, that doesn't look like icons, which is what I asked for. Well, what's happened there? Let's see somewhere. Oh, I don't know. Anything should have an icon. Africa. It looks like it wants to have an icon. It's got to be 5.5. That's well, what happened to my icons? Oh, because yeah, Windows 10 will not load. Yeah, there was a hot fix to Windows 10 that made it not load excessive network resources like, oh, I don't know, icons from a network volume. So unfortunately, if you really want that to work, you've got to make either a folder on the C drive. There's really not a good solution. Can I get to Windows 7 from here? Where is it? Do I have a favorite or a friend? No. Oh, there's somebody. Is it 7? That's 7. No, that's 2000. 2003, server 2003. Uh-huh. Okay. Something has happened. That might be old. Get there by name. That's cool. So this would be an XP equivalent, just the server version. Icons. Sure don't look beautiful. All right, so I must have messed something up with that, like a last minute chmod there. And they're 555. Well, something to investigate. I suspect it's not actually broken. I don't remember trying to configure push-pull wins replication, but it's neither here nor there. There we go. Windows is kind of, I don't know, it hangs on to things. And I think that's probably partially my fault because I've configured Samba to just blanket say that's okay. Just always give locks, for whatever anything asks. Okay, so I got a bunch of ._ files in the bottom. Can I make those go away? Probably not. All right, well, that is inaccurate. All right, and what I'm realizing here, these are not what I've asked for. These are auto-generated thumbnails. Because if they were mine, I don't think well, I wouldn't expect the icon of the folder to be present. That just looks like something it's made up on its own. But maybe that's an XP thing. I haven't used it in years. This is the future. Something. So yeah, so anyway, that works, and it's pulling those files off of Tableau, and icons work sometimes really based on limitations in the client operating system. That was in iTunes. Well, hopefully this will just keep on trucking. So that's being dumped into this unknown artist, unknown album folder. These should be my encoded files it's generating. So from there, I may take a look at, I mean, I'm so sad there's not more album artwork. So this then should be able to, that's me. So this thing does a lot. It helps if you've like just throw a bunch of mess in there. It will definitely make things better. It does do audio fingerprint lookup. So I had good success using it. I set an automatic record of a Pandora or Spotify stream, and hypothetically, you could set a unattended record of a Pandora or Spotify stream, and then use a SOX command to cut that giant recording into individual tracks based on silence detection. And so then you could pass a long list of just file 1, file 2, file 3, sequentially named files to MusicBrainz Picard, and it'll go out there and put names on them all. And along with the rest, and artwork and everything. So it can, kind of decompile a mixtape, if you will. All right. Yes, please. Apparently I'm still in the A's. All I want. Not reversible. Okay, so let's add a folder. Okay. Now we see a mess brewing back in iTunes with duplicates and things like that, but that's actually because we didn't originally copy the source files in there. They won't be. There's two different folders involved. All right. So here's a folder of 32-bit AIFF files extracted from YouTube streams. About 900 in there, I think. It's an older app. It clearly is a little bit lost at 1920 by 1080. All right, so at this point it's all done. So I can just say cluster will group things together by, I mean, in this case, it would use file name, like electronomia, like we see here, would be all grouped together. And it will try and match duplicate files, but I'm just going to go straight to lookup, and I guess none of these files have any metadata. So what it will do, the only metadata available is the exact number of samples in the file. So this database seems to try and track everything. So it will go, look for that. All right, now I regret asking for 900 lookups. God, it's going to take forever. Let's start over. Yeah, be prepared to do that because once you click apply, the changes are permanent. So it's worth taking the time to sort of navigate through there and make sure you know what you're doing, or make sure what's being done is what you want. All right, that'll be me. It's 900 files. So now I'm just going to go ahead and scan these without making any further changes. There's a whole set of configuration about how the audio matching is performed and thresholds and things like that. So especially in cases where you have a clean file. In this case, we're directly correct converted from an official release video. So those are all gold. Um, it will match versions of the file. Like if you burned a song to a CD and then ripped it back off, a lot of times there's just changes, subtle changes in the amount of silence before and after the track. And all this stuff is in the database. So those files may not match, as gold standard. They may just be green. And at some point there's a sliding graph that it shows you about how good that it thinks they matched. That was cool, especially from when cutting up tracks from Pandora or Spotify. Uh, Wish I'd done that to di.fm before they took away all their free stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to probably stop this for now because I don't really want to come back, and I should have just selected a few and said look up. But I'm a nice guy. I don't want to hit this server, with the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah, unsaved file. So yeah, so it's offering then to here. It's offering to bring in all this metadata. And so I guess this is, CDDB or Gracenote or, some other backend. But yeah, it so this is what we do. I would let iTunes convert all the files, and then this will just, put all the tags in there. And I'm given additional choices under the setup as to whether I just want to update a lot of stuff. Whether you just want to update or convert the metadata, or if you want to come along and rename files. And this move files when saving is convenient. I could be using that. I could actually run live with this, but I'm, apply to these files that are in there, but I don't think I'm going to do that. All kinds of, and make it so. Do I need an API key? I mean, I like API keys. All right, well, I'll be double sure to cancel this thing then, because I don't want to lose my my get rate limited or something. Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and quit. So yeah, so it puts all those together. Look at that. It groups everything together, and if you let it get into the file renaming stuff, it will make everything, clean and nice. Yeah, here I guess it's saying that we've got that song. Odds are, because I'm feeding the whole NCS catalog in there, most of these things will get filled in. Oh, and that'll be handy because then I'll know if I'm missing anything. So, with artwork. So, just going to quit that for now. Yes, please. Read more about that later. So, that's fine. It does that. Into the use. So that's looking good. So yeah, I'm just gonna let all this finish and dump it into iTunes as a batch, and then go, then convert it with iTunes because I like its encoder, and then run it through Picard to add some metadata and album artwork, and then delete it from iTunes and re-import it into iTunes to get the new metadata flavors, and then sync it to the iPad, and then it'll be up on the decks. So that's yeah, that's how it goes. All right, well, I'm gonna just put down the headset and see what else is going on. So catch you guys later.